Your continued patronage is very, very welcome.
Does that sound good to you?
E.T. Home Phone.
Everyone, and welcome to After the Film. Today we're going to be talking about Finding Dory.
Somewhere out there is my family. I can't find him on my own.
Hang on, Dory!
Surf's up, dude!
Incoming!
I don't want to be touched.
Let's get the obvious stuff out of the way first. Structurally, this film is a lot like Finding Nemo. I've seen some reviews that mention that there's not enough of this movie that takes place in the ocean. I think people don't realize that was the thing in Finding Nemo as well. A lot of the movie took place in that aquarium, in that dentist office. I think this has a little bit more of the out-of-the-ocean stuff, but it's still entertaining. I mean, you don't have to have the ocean for it to be good, although the ocean visuals are great. And I think actually the less time it spends in the ocean means that a few moments in the ocean are amazing and like beautiful scenery. Like this field of seaweed that we see early in the film when Dory is young, and then see it again later. It's great because it is this isolated location with this nice wavy seaweed. It's great animation. And then we get to spoilers already. Yeah, spoilers.
What? No!
Another great visual comes late in the film when Dory finds her parents' house in the ocean with lines of shells going out from it. You'll understand if you see the movie, but the visual is nice because after being in this marine life center and all the aquariums and the tanks, it's nice to have this open visual with it shows how much work her parents have put in. That these shells stretch out into the murk and you can't see how far they've put them. One more note on structure. Early in the film, I mean literally I think it's in the first 5 to 10 minutes, they travel from Great Barrier Reef, you know, where they were in the first film, across the Pacific to California. They go with Crush and all the turtles. The thing is, this transition, which could have been an amazing story on its own, happens over the course of about 20-30 seconds. And I think it's a missed opportunity for something more interesting, especially since Dory speaks whale, you know. What are you going to get out in the middle of the ocean? Whales. I do get a couple interesting whales in the film, though. Destiny, voiced by Caitlin Olsen, and Bailey, voiced by Ty Burrell. There might be a little too much of them in the movie, because they, especially Bailey, only really has one note to why he's funny. It's funny, but it plays out a bit too much. He's a beluga whale who's a little nervous about using his echolocation, and Destiny is nearsighted. That's why they're in this marine center, because they can't handle life outside. But they're great, they're funny. Maybe a little bit too much of them, but they are funny. One complaint regarding characters, I think Marlin, Albert Brooks, and Nemo, Hayden Rollins, they're almost like tangentially hooked to the plot. Their attempt to rescue Dory is like this secondary thing that almost didn't need to be there. A lot of the rest of the movie, especially with Hank, who I'll get to in a moment, reminded me of a recent short film called Octopi. And you don't need the story of Marlin and Nemo coming to rescue Dory. They barely actually do anything to help. They try several times, and things are funny, and they get one of the best moments in the thing where they come with the idea of, what would Dory do? You know, this isn't Dory, but what would Dory do? That's how they start deciding what their actions are going to be, and it's funny. because Dory doesn't, with her short-term memory loss, she doesn't have the time to overthink things. She just looks at the options, picks one, goes. And that's sort of what this movie is promoting on one level. On the other level, it's coming back to the family is important thing. Regardless of what that family is, whether it's by blood or by choice, the movie is favoring family quite. And the best character of the movie has to be Hank, the octopus.
Uh-oh, not good.
What? What is it? What happened? What's that?
That there is bad news. It's a transport tag for fish who can't cut it inside the Institute. They get transferred to permanent digs, an aquarium.
See, he wants that tag. He doesn't want to be in this marine center with all these other animals. Hank's goal, and he's voiced wonderfully by Ed O'Neill, Hank's goal is to live alone in a glass enclosure where no one will talk to him. And he gets stuck helping Dory because he wants the tag that's on her that's going to get her sent to an aquarium in Cleveland where she'll get to be in a tank. And that's his thing. He wants to have that tag. He wants to go to Cleveland. And he's this curmudgeonly old... He's like everything grumpy about a character that you can have rolled into one fantastically animated octopus. Or septopus. Because he's missing a tentacle. And he's awesome. He's the best parts of this movie all involve him. And, well, except for one.
Sea lions. They are natural predators. They could pounce at any moment. Mate, don't you worry.
Oh, get off the rock! Get off! You know
Don't you worry about a thing.
But never mind the funny stuff. What's really good about this movie, just like Finding Nemo, is that it's really good at those emotional moments. Young Dory in the flashbacks near the beginning of the movie, super sad, super cute too, but super sad. And there are moments toward the end of this movie that the emotion kicks in, and it deals with the fact that life doesn't always go how you want it to.
Does this mean we have to say goodbye to Dory?
I don't know why I thought I could do this.
Dory, you are about to find your parents. And when you do that, you'll be
Home.
All in all, if you liked Finding Nemo, you should like Finding Dory. Structurally, it's a bit of the same, but if you like Finding Nemo, you've probably watched it more than once. So, Finding Dory is a good addition. Great characters, some really funny moments, some really sad moments. Parts of it are maybe a bit forgettable, but I think Finding Nemo had that same problem, where certain scenes you're like, oh yeah, that happened, when you're reminded later. Some really great moments between Hank, this giant clam that is really clamoring. I didn't intend that one. This giant clam that's really clamoring for attention, and Marlin and Nemo don't have time for him. Is pretty funny. Sigourney Weaver's presence, especially when she's introduced, is actually really funny, because we're already in spoilers, so Dory doesn't realize it's just an announcement speaker that's been pre-recorded. And she keeps talking about her friend, Sigourney Weaver. And all in all, the movie works really well for what it is. And, you know, plus, lesbian couple.
Poor babies. Let me get that for you. Woo!
Not that that's what most people are looking for in their animated film, but including something so casual is nice. And yeah, you could make the argument that it's just two mothers there with their kids. Fine. But yeah, it's two mothers out there with their kids. Anyway, Finding Nemo. If you want to see it, you'll be entertained. It's maybe a little more existential than the first one, which is cool. But it's also fun. Lots of fun. Not that existential can't be fun. So, go see Finding Dory. Or see something else. See more movies. See movies you wouldn't normally see. Or if you're like me, just see whatever movie happens to be around. And have a good time. One more thing. The short film that is right before Finding Dory in theaters. Piper. Beautiful animation, cute story. It's really good. And with no dialogue. Bye.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment.
I fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberry.